Hello there, Internet. Hello there, YouTube. Welcome back to the Hermit Gamers solo hardcore playthrough of X-Men Legends 2, a classic ARPG. It is abandonware. It is free. Download it. Play it on your phone. Play it on your wristwatch. Play it on some strange abacus-like contraption because even that will have the power to run this ancient game that is still brilliant and fun. Check it out. Anyway, let's get in there. Let us get back to the grind. It's been a bit of a segmented Act 3, but we're coming up to the finale now. Haven't had much time to play lately, but yes, let's get back in there.
Let the games begin.
And here we are. So the reason why Sabretooth was essentially a name picked out of a hat, because I do plan on doing this with everyone, and I didn't pick it out of a hat, but it was randomized to some extent. And the reason why we went with Sabretooth is because, well, the reason why we happily went with Sabretooth, I felt like, yeah, that we might be able to get some like character out of this playthrough, is because he's very much a glass cannon, and he's very much a second rater compared to Wolverine, who is himself already not a great character to be doing this game solo with. Both of them are kind of glass cannons. They have a lot of damage, and they have very little else. So we've done the kind of standard, high damage build, which, trust me, this is what it looks like, and it's going to scale like this. We're going to maybe get points in this at some point, but this one we definitely want to max. So yeah, a lot of these skills work kind of synergistically with each other and with this. So as long as you hit the sort of combos with this guy, they're not actually combos, but as long as you actually work with his synergies and keep his buffs up, he just doesn't want for damage. So, you got a few skill points to play with.
Watch yourselves. This place looks like...
About Agrit, you'll do no... Yes.
Oh, just having some Pepsi there. Absolutely fantastic. That is the good stuff. And yeah.
You are vile.
So he won't want for damage. Particularly against bosses. The tougher the enemies, the more this guy's damage tends to kind of scale with them, because there's things he can do to keep kind of ramping it up and ramping it up. But the setups for those things, are costly enough, both in terms of EP and time spent, that they're typically not worth using for regular enemies. The setup itself will kill them. So very, very potent damage, but, you probably didn't notice because you don't know what any of these words mean if you don't know this game. But unlike our boy Colossus, who has probably one of the best ults in the game, an ult that basically just makes you invincible for a minute and do double damage, just absolute chef's kiss ult, particularly for a melee character, nothing you could possibly want more than that. Being invincible would be enough. In fact, Rogue's ult is basically just be invincible, and it's still one of the best ults in the game, even though it's just flatly it doesn't have that amazing freaking pile of gravy on top that is oh yeah, here, and by the way, while you're invincible, have fun with double fucking damage. But no, that's fine. This guy's ults aren't terrible. It's just his survivability ult is poo. It is absolute. I don't know why I ran in there. I know there's hounds in there, and I just run in to get CC. The enemies in this act are fairly aggressive though, and hounds are so tanky. They just exist to exist and keep spamming those howls. And we can break this. I was gonna say going for a quick finish on the irradiated guy so he can't chip us down too much, but of course, when it comes to actually implementing the bullshit that my brain comes up with, I fail every single time, almost every single time. Most of the time, I usually fail. Anyway, this guy, Altered Genetics. Altered Genetics can be freaking tough in terms of their ability to tank damage. I'm just impressed by this guy's ability to dish damage out. None of this is particularly challenging. Not particularly. But then that's also how these games work, is that they... If you do everything, like, let's... Because you could come into this game with like an absolute, just no sense of like build, no sense of like how to, how to like use the items. Because like, if I were to just take the items I'm wearing off now, like the damage that I do, like literally goes down by like a quarter. It's crazy. But these items were not hard to find. I didn't have to do anything special. I didn't have to grind for it. I literally just had to pick the right ones to put on of the ones that I found. I don't want to be in this horrible place getting slowed. We just want the hound gone, and then we get rid of that fungus. Anyway. I don't actually remember what I was saying. It must have been important because I sounded really like, like I feel like I've used a lot of air discussing it. So it really must have been important. I'm sorry. Anyway, we'll have to deal with these hounds. I would like to kind of separate these two, but honestly, like, you should be able to just bully it. It's not that bad. It's not. Like, there isn't that much damage here, it's just going to cost us a decent amount of potions. But yeah, we are going to be doing the, like, second grade Nightmare playthrough of this game with each of these characters that we do it within normal. Some of them will find it easier, and some of them will find it much harder. Cyclops, for example, is going to just run out of damage in Nightmare. It's unfortunate, it's just the way he's built. Yeah. But yeah, so like Cyclops will just start to run out of damage. And characters like this, who are already very vulnerable to burst, are just in an even more precarious situation. And they will also start coming up against damage challenges because you will have things like physical immunity, for example. And dealing with them is mostly, for a character who purely does melee damage, is mostly a kind of itemization challenge. Twice in a row, just go sailing into the void. The aim in this game, like, it's control port, so it, places you would expect it to in that sense. You kind of have to like drag yourself around, if that makes sense, when you're using it on mouse and keyboard. And it's an instinct that I've just never gotten the hang of, like doing, at least not fully, even though I have played this game a lot. Slow. But all in all, it's been quite safe in here. This is also one of the reasons why I've been breaking Act 3 up, because the core is really hard. Well, the core isn't hard, but the core is like, you need to be like mentally on point. You can't kind of just brain AFK the core.
There's no one gonna stop.
Alright, I believe I have some, at least one item upgrade. Here we go, yeah, très fabuleux, beautiful. We lose some resistances, but that's fine. Gear, the first thing for gear is damage. And then what do we have here? Really nothing. Oh, hold on, we got this 27 mental damage. Alright, that should... You know, we'll see how this goes. I'm not super chuffed about the... we'll see. Oh yeah, I have a skill point as well, but...
Shouldn't have gotten my way.
And damage seems fine. So typically on a melee character, you would want more physical damage, but not purely physical damage. Didn't really need to do that, but like, I don't know, I just feel like that fight had gone on for way too long. So, an ability I actually haven't been using is the one I just unlocked in the Infinite Factory, which is kind of one of the cornerstones of this guy's kit. But as I say, it's also kind of a setup for payoff in terms of damage that we just don't need. Yes, I believe I have a skill point. Yes. Yeah, we kind of want to keep popping this up when we can, because the boss damage can be quite nice. Oh, pardon me, having some Pepsi there. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I'm just like raving about the quality of the Pepsi. Like, you get good Pepsi and bad Pepsi. I'm not so sure about the Pepsi crop this year, my dear.
Did you like that, punk?
And faster switch to Coke. But yeah.
Could you possibly make
I always knew
justice
this mission
and
was
that's
going to
how the
be
elephants-
kind of dry for Sabretooth, and like I said, one of the reasons why I've kind of broken Act 3 up quite a bit, aside from obviously having Tactical Beschleunigen and having to replay Act 4, sorry, the second mission in the factory.
Did you like that, punk?
My brain just wants me to forget what I was just talking about. But I'm going to try not to let it. I said I was not going to let it, and then I had this moment of doubt. Oh, I got stuck in the column. Good thing that wasn't actually dangerous. I could have just died. Because I just wanted to kite back. But this just wouldn't actually show up. It was weird. Anyway. The reason why Act 3 is kind of chunked up a bit is like, Act 3 is so, like, Act 3's difficulty is very polarized. You have the core. Genuinely just went brain okay there. Again, good thing none of this stuff is really dangerous. But yeah, you have the core, which is one of the most dangerous places in the game. You know, you've got those brutes or whatever they're called, the guys with the hammers, who, you know, just a couple of them can keep you stun locked for so long. And then you've got the undercloaks who are like conditionally very dangerous in the sense if they spawn with something like radiation, AoE. Or EP drain when there's something else dangerous around. You know, they can be super dangerous. You've got, but other than that, they're just kind of like a patience check that can become dangerous again if you fail it, and they just kind of like keeping you tense and annoyed throughout the entire mission, basically, because you spend so much time just chasing them and button mashing to kill them. So you got that freaking wombo combo. Then you got the tyrants, who are, you know, they can do a decent amount of damage on their own. Rarely are they ever enough to kill you without like a lot of support or something, but they don't really have the support in this composition. But you have the tyrants, who are just pop-up machines and just appear, you know, in the perfect spot in the game for you to get like ledge and, you know, one shot. So it's like, did I explore that entire area? I swear. The map in this game, especially on bigger maps, is it's a work of wonder. I'm seeing a lot of red here, but does this mean I haven't actually gone there? I really don't want to waste anyone's time tonight. Oh no, yeah, so there is actually a part I haven't gone to. Jesus. Anyway. You know, Act 3, so you have this high with one of the best areas in the game. I say the best. The only bad enemy in that area, the undercloaks, and even then, the challenge level is correct, if that makes sense. Especially considering, like, remember, like, this game is meant to be played with 4 people. Like, not 4 individual humans, although you could do it like that if you have, you know, if you had friends. Oh my god. Actually, I used to play this back in the day. With a girl, no less. Anyway. If you had friends. You could play this with 4 people, but either way, you'd have 3 AI companions who, at the very least, were like a hunk of meat between you and the enemies that drew, you know, that ensured you drew like, you know, a whole bunch less aggro, a quarter of the aggro you normally do. So, you know, when you think about that, it's like, okay, the core is dangerous to me as a solo player because, you know, getting stun locked. It's not even an issue when you have, you know, when like there's 4 enemies that like if all 4 of them are attacking one person can just keep them perma stun locked until they die. Yeah? But like now there's 4 of you. Like there's nowhere where there's enough enemies to stun lock all of you. Not that you can't get like a team wipe in this game. But I don't know where you get them, to be honest. Like, maybe some of these, like, really high potency auras, but even then, it's like, you gotta assume you've got to assume the player is going to like smash an ultimate or something after like a couple of their team gets down. Like the only thing in the game I can see like genuinely just like, you know, cutting a swath through a team is either Apocalypse himself has this attack where he kind of like smashes the ground repeatedly, like turns his arms into some kind of like power machine and just like pummels the ground. If you're close to him, like close enough because it has a pretty big AoE, that can 100%, especially if you haven't had too many points in health and you don't have any. Oh, that's so annoying. Him being. I was just about to be a little smart ass and like step into my office, but they actually wouldn't step into my office. It's because they could see me. You know, some barriers obstruct line of sight, others don't. The ones that obstruct line of sight you can use to kite enemies. That obviously doesn't obstruct line of sight, nor does it obstruct mine or their damage. Oh, that's so awful. Without the aura, they should be fine now. But like, these guys can chunk you, and with that aura...
Nope.
Anyway, I don't want the smoke. But as I said, I'm never worried about this area. I don't think I've worried about this area with anyone that I've done it with thus far. I was a little bit worried about the boss fight with Cyclops because Holocaust can be really tanky, and Cyclops, you know, doesn't have the best boss damage. And you know, he just kind of went through it. He didn't have that much of a problem, to be honest.
Any questions?
Did me proud, the lad. Amazing. So I'm obviously not worried about it with this guy who's one of the best boss killers in the game. I was worried about Sugarman with this guy, and it was a tense fight. I had fun. He hit me once, knocked me on my ass, and took, like, on reviewing it, when I was playing it, I said, like, oh, he half-healthed me with one hit. On review, it was more like this. And there's 3 hits in that combo. If he hits you with 2, that's it. That's the end. And, like, can you avoid 100%? I avoided all, I avoided all but 1 hit. And there are definitely better gamers than me out here who can do that too. Who will avoid every hit, not even get bumped once. So this guy has to die first, otherwise he'll just resurrect them. And then we need to know what they are vulnerable to. Oh, this guy... Wait, were they both vulnerable to pop-up? That's weird. I wish I'd known that. Oh well. But yeah, playing through with this guy is just fun. actually having different buttons to press in these like scrappy melee fights. Yeah. So one thing I would love to see in this game, like if I could change this game around, I would give one of the, like, I say give one of the enemies in this map some CC. The problem is you do have hounds, they're not here enough, and then you get these guys who are just, these guys are just nothing. It's like they're just potion carriers. They can do a little bit of damage to you if they're just like free to pound on you, but they don't have, like, the halberd guys, the guys, the blue guys who carry the axes, they can actually do good damage. Like, they've got a lot of varied attacks, and some of their attacks, they have this, like, one that's like a triple poke kind of thing, and that does a lot of damage. And if a couple of them get the triple poke on you, like, they can really actually, like, they can genuinely do some burst. And, like, the RNG is not that in favor of that happening. As you can see, I've kind of been running through. I've been tagged a lot, and I haven't been even one of those attacks yet that I've noticed. Yeah, there he goes. So I probably have been hit with more of them. But they, yeah, if a couple of them use that, they can chunk you down quite quickly. So I don't consider those guys to be completely non-threatening, but they really need some, like, CC threat with them to kind of amp them up, and that's where, like, the hounds come in. But then it's like, we just don't have hounds here, so these guys, you just kind of walk into them. But then I guess they do have the resurrectors with them that kind of makes them... So actually, this is the kind of thing that I complain about, like, Diablo not having, and now I'm, like, complaining about it existing in this game. I don't know, man. I can't keep my shit straight. Apparently, I don't know what I feel or want. I know nothing. But yeah. You know, it genuinely is, like, now that I think about it. You know, CC, you know, having enemies who can damage you but not sort of hold you there for the damage. They can't, you know, they can't sort of CC you to get the damage in. And then coupling them with enemies who can CC you to ensure that they have a chance to get the damage in. Like, that's a big threat to a melee character, because a melee character has to run into the CC, assuming the CC is, like, close range. You know, which it, you know, almost, I think it always is in this game. Like, there's hit stun from ranged attacks, but nothing like, you know, actually being, like, locked out from your ability to, like, move or react for more than just a kind of instant. There are no, like, knockdowns, pop-ups, knockbacks, etc. Dizzies. Yeah, I'll go take that. Looks lovely. But yeah, as I was saying, so you have these, so you have that situation, which is kind of like, that's difficult for, well, it's not difficult, but that's a puzzle for a melee character to deal with, because you have to then separate the CC from the damage, like try to kind of heal the onion, right? But yeah, these guys are just, I don't know what their job is. It's potion carriers, like I said. But yeah, so you got to peel them apart. But then it's like, for a caster, a range character, that's not as big a deal, because you just kind of kite all of them and kill all of them. What's more of a problem for a range character is having that kind of damaging close range attackers guarding ranged characters, especially ranged characters who can then, you know, buff and or resurrect the close range fighters. Because now, hold on, I'm just gonna. Pardon me. Just grabbing some water. You know, because a range fighter is going to want to use their range advantage, and that kind of takes their ability, it takes away their ability to win that kind of long range battle of attrition, if that makes sense. and it forces them to dive, which their kit doesn't necessarily support. But yeah, this area is just like so, you know, we're barely even dipping low on potions. I mostly ulted because I knew they were going to be quite tanky. And, you know, we got a bunch. And as I said, this area is very non-threatening. Let's chuck that thing down. And what do we got here? I usually like to buff Talon Rage if I can, because it buffs the damage taken on the enemy, so in a way it's kind of buffing everything else. If you use it. And the funny thing is like, making it cost a lot of EP kind of limits your ability to use it. So this guy's kit, this guy and Wolverine's kit, you can actually build them like low skill investment for like maximized usage, if that makes sense. Whereas like most of the enemies don't require those skills to be maxed out for you to kill them efficiently if you're using them all the time and keeping the benefits of them up. Bit of a walking simulator, this one. I wish I could say it was just my, you know, typically sort of witless pathing, but, you know, we physically could not get in back there. When we passed it, we had to backtrack, which normally this game is pretty good about chucking some like extra mobs in space it expects you to backtrack over, just so you're not, you know, playing a walking simulator, which is a really nice little touch, by the way. Like, whoever put that in, like, you're a cool guy. I wonder if that's the kind of thing you catch in playtesting, though. Like, did some playtester like go through the game and then be like, oh, well, look, the game expects me to like go here and then come back here after I've kind of already cleared the map between these 2 points. So when I come back, you know, I'm just kind of like running through an empty map, noticing how slowly my character moves, like, and someone was like, oh yeah, we could literally just have like a script to like just, you know, respawn a few mobs. But yeah, this area, as I see, those casters can make it a little bit, you know, for the squishier like caster types, that sort of setup can be a little bit tricky. And then of course there are hounds here. And they love to hide hounds. They're so dirty with that. Like they think they know the hounds are the threat. The CC is always the threat. The anti-player CC, which I don't use that word like pejoratively. The anti-player CC is perfectly fine in games like this. It's just like everything, it needs to be like implemented right, but like it's implemented fairly mercilessly in this game, to be honest. But then, generally speaking, it's not coupled with high enemy damage in this game, and also you need to bear in mind that this game is supposed to be played. Oh, the EP goes so fast. But yeah, you're supposed to have a team of 4 in this game. So having one person like potentially stuck locked in a corner by a couple of enemies, that's not something that really should happen if you play this game the way it's meant to be played. So the existence of that kind of CC, I can't really be annoyed by it.
You will never
You know, like maybe even someone in playtesting did notice it and was like, hey, look, I was playing in, you know, I don't know, the New York area, and I'd already lost a couple of characters. You know, I don't know how to say. I tried to, like, interact with that like it was a whale in Diablo. It's just like, everything gives me a different kind of, like, a different kind of brain rot. And then the brain rots start like seeping into each other. Like I already have, this game is already giving me brain rot, and now that Diablo brain rot is seeping in to the X-Men Legends 2 brain rot. I've played a lot of this game, trust me. Like nobody, you have to play through this game a lot of times before you're like, melee Jean Grey. Maybe that's the meta. It's the fucking meta. But because even back then, nobody played this game.
You will never.
But, Loki. Yep, literally, I went there. I said it. I ironically used Zuma slang. Loki. See now. It would have been better if I could somehow have used the word unironically incorrectly there, but unfortunately, I was using it correctly because I would have been more, you know, in the vibe that I was going for. Either way, low key, melee Jean Grey is the meta. If you actually want Jean to do damage, build her as a melee fighter. She'll fucking clap. Anything that isn't like mentally immune, she will hard clap. Like, you know, 2-shot with normal melee attacks type shit. Like, just absolutely clap her way through mobs without even spending energy. And then she has this fucking turret that just like spam fires, like tracking projectiles while she's like jumping around, fucking clapping everything by punching it with a beam. Like, so hilariously fun to play like that. Because she kind of sucks otherwise. I mean, I say she kind of sucks, like, she has, you know, arguably the best support ability in the game. No. But it's up there. It basically gives everyone EP leech. It's very strong. She has some radials that, like, reduce enemy damage and stuff like that, so... You know, she can make life safe. She can resurrect people on a team, which I guess is cool. But I feel like you can just get them in the portal. But I suppose during a boss fight, you know, if you lose someone, they're down forever. How do I just miss the hound that many times? And then I just let this guy bonk me with a stun. That's good. He's on his own, he can't do anything. That's such a vibe check in a game like Tide, where like... I wish I could actually nail them with that ability. It is what it is, though. But yeah, that's such a vibe check in Tide that like, in games like that, where like there are no harmless enemies. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't just use that ability earlier. No reason to fight hounds in that aura, not when we have this much ultimate charge in the bank. So another neat thing, like I said about this game, has these little like tricks to make it, you know, so you're never obliged to kind of just play the walking simulator, that it will like respawn enemies in empty map sections, and then it also gives you these convenient little like chutes. You know, even just like a couple of mobs as well. So you just got something to do where you come in this little like side tunnel to get out. Really cool. These are such nice little touches from the devs. That they're just like, hey, you know, they have literally got you, fam. Okay. I might as well just poke my nose down here. XP there because we are quite under-leveled here. Now, this ability, it does so much damage. You know, it's doing like the kind of damage a lot of characters need to ult to do, and then it's also buffing the damage the enemies take. This one can be decent as quality of life. It's an engagement tool, but I don't know. Alright. What do we get this up to? Oh, 29. It's very, very tempting. Alright, we'll go with this first, and we'll just see how that works out. Should be fine. I've been investing a decent amount in life. Over the last few levels, we're getting a little bit more. But yeah, so here's the thing. Like, if I use that as an engagement tool, then I can use that as a disengagement tool. Like, it shouldn't get me into messes it can't get me out of, if that makes sense. That's not true. Wait, I'm going the wrong way here. Yeah. That is not true if I use the dive as an engagement tool, and it doesn't work so well as a disengagement tool because it doesn't go past enemies. It like stops when it hits an enemy.
You're not a believer of apocalypse.
You know, so it's actually like very specifically intended just to be an engagement. And like, yeah, you can use it to disengage if you have a clear like a kind of clear channel to whoosh down. But we're doing pretty comfy here. I recall, I have very clear memory of doing this with Cyclops. Well, that's a little bit dicey. Alright, let's just bait them in. And... No! Bro, calm down. Just taking a nap, it's all good. Yeah, I don't know, I feel way more confident doing this with Sabretooth than I did with Cyclops, but I think that's just that's just like the way you play with a ranged character, you know, especially someone who's often trying to bait enemies into traps. But yeah, this as when I say like this game feels like Melee done right, like you don't know. I wish this game was harder. I wish this game had a hell mode. Because this game doesn't like, you know, particularly with like 4 people in it, in a team, there's no real need to actually min-max everything. And yeah, I actually want to pull all the hounds together if I can and just. But yeah, you just kind of don't ever need to go as hard as the game allows you to go. It allows you to build, but also the game has a very high level cap. Like, I think it genuinely might be in the 90s. I'm not 100% certain, but I think it might. Or it's 60 or something. You know, and then every character gets like a whole bunch of free skills.
You're not a believer of
From danger room missions, and we're going to try to bait these children. Stop freaking resurrecting your buddies. Yeesh. This is like no cooldown on that shit either. Just like the Fallen Shamans in Diablo. I have no problem with that, by the way. This is scary ass aura. But should be safe in the hole. Yeah. Like I said, the thing you will not care, like the thing you won't be worried about is damage with this guy. It's just like, there are some situations you have to kind of run into. Let me put it this way, I'm not really looking forward to New York with this guy.
destroy the heretics.
Did you like that, punk?
But also, we'll see, you know, the passive resistances are pretty decent. I don't know. We'll see, we'll see. Normally those enhanced hounds take a lot of chunking down. But this guy just, you know, he don't have a problem chunking. He just chunks and he chunks. He chunks everything. And as I say, melee done right in the sense of like, it feels like melee. It has the kind of impact, the solidity of melee. It has, you know, the short range of melee, traditionally short range. Maybe a little bit of a radial or something, but, you know, cleave, slash, AoE shockwave type things. But they still somehow feel weighty. They feel like, you know,
Congratulations.
you know, I think it helps that so many melee skills in this game have CC on them. So they either like knock enemies on their ass or
Destroy
pop them up or stun them or something. Knock them back. And I think the reason why that makes melee feel more impactful is it's like feels like more of an event, like more of a kind of physical event, if that makes sense. Like when you're physically shoving enemies out of the way with like the power of your attack, or like smashing them up into the sky, or like, you know, hammering them back across the map. That just really, to me, helps to distinguish between the two mechanics. But as I say, melee in this game feels like melee. Melee in a lot of more modern like ARPGs, to me at least, doesn't feel like melee. It feels like, you know, spellcasting with melee animations. And maybe that's like an absurd concept, or maybe there is no such distinction between those two things. I don't know, whatever. Maybe I'm just being like an old fuck and I'm yelling at clouds because it's new.
It's all in excellent condition.
Alright. Yeesh. Bonus skills so pricey now. I'll check the... Yeah. I don't think I'm going to worry about buying gear again until Act 4. Boo!
Go no further.
Go no further, you go motherfucker. What is on my head?
So I don't actually want to spend too much time kind of messing about with these guys, because there are resurrectors that kind of roam around in the halls as well. And I feel like confident enough of this guy's damage to sort of kite a whole bunch of them together and just give them the Wombus. That's the Wombus guy. Actually getting knocked around a little bit there. It's just potions. Not worried about burst in here until we get into these corner rooms and we see what the specials and the bosses and stuff have, because they can have some dangerous stuff. But I can see that from here. It's not worry. It's just irradiated. In fact, what we might even do is just kind of see if we can kite everyone together again. And give them another. No? Alright. I swear I was trying to use a different ability there, but it's not. Anyway. Took a little bit longer than I would have wanted. Perfectly safe. Bong, bong. Oh, how did I kill her? Let's try to pull a few of these guys together. I don't want to be in here.
No further.
Qualifying is it's good to have your ult to just like find yourself on the ground very well. Just smash that ult button. Smash that like button. No, leave me alone. Alright, this is a lot of jerks, but I want to get maximum value out of it. Then they really wanted to avenge their bodies.
He's the non-believer.
He's a non-believer.
And I've got something. Alright, yeah. Alright, let's get to 100. Oh, your butter. And let's see what we got here. Yeah, we always want Talon Rage if we can get it. Just to have that delete button power on it. And then, you know, use it in conjunction with bleeds against bosses, where we get the double synergy on the bleed. And again, here we just want to Kai. You know, we got some resurrection here. We might as well just. There's plenty of ult. Oh, that's so, like, dirty that I can't jump over the chair.
You shouldn't have messed with me.
That's seize the non-believer.
He's a non-believer.
Who's mad?
I don't mind about having these ankle biters all around me as Sabertooth. You know, as Cyclops, you got to be way more careful to like clear your sight lines. You don't have like 360 AOE.
This is becoming quite
and you have no movement tools to escape with. But yeah, here we go. We're coming up on the boss. And kind of on the clock here too. Not too bad at all. I feel like I should grab another extreme, not be lazy, just like... But where am I gonna... Nah, it's fine. I got a blink portal. It's cool, it's cool. Alright. So we literally just do the old faithful of like... Here we are, and we go to the southern habitats. There are other areas you can go to, but, you know, this arena, there's no boss here. It's always empty. Not that it matters if it's not empty. And there's just always a decent number of barrels to smack. Without having to, like, walk too far to get to this place. Because there are other boss arenas with a lot more barrels. But... takes more time to get to them. And you can literally just re-roll this arena and then just do it again. So... Anyway, we got everything we needed. That's good, just nice cold water. Yeah, we're not exactly maxed out on potions here, but
Are these the ones who came to the
should
public?
be fine.
Yes. Can you remember Miss Rose? You really believe? Yes. No. Don't try to. You didn't really hurt one of us.
So you remember how difficult it was for the Cyclops to like actually like smoosh down the cuckoos.
You didn't really hurt us. Smashing good time.
Oh, they're annoying.
You dare to
Destroy.
worry. No energy. The time of your destruction is at hand.
Oh, that's so annoying with him just like sitting on it like that.
You didn't.
I steal your life force in the name of Apocalypse.
And we do actually want to clear these ads out if we can. So he can't.
My word.
You didn't really hurt us.
Give me your pitiful energy.
Oh my gosh, can I please see what's behind me where the actual thing I desperately need to fucking see is? It's just so pounding down this guy. And like I said, boss damage, you just don't want for it with this guy. You do fine.
I don't know.
But honestly, that, like, 10 EP. You know, we spent a lot of energy in that fight. But I kind of unintentionally threw a decent amount of
Good
abilities of
job with the
iframes
mad
and stuff
right.
like that. Didn't necessarily
You're quite welcome.
time my setups well. But that's also something that you have to bear in mind with... Pardon. Yeah, with this guy and Wolverine, is that they do have, you know, they have big damage, and then they have even bigger damage payoffs, but those payoffs require EP heavy setups that, if you don't time them well around enemy abilities, can you know, sometimes go to waste. But anyway, I'm feeling pretty good with that. We did fine. As I said, the only thing I was really worried about in this act was the core. And jeez, we just need focus. I mean, we so much energy in that battle. It was crazy. Like, you know, there's nothing wrong with having more focus. Like, just more focus gives us more bonus mental damage, helps us deal with physical immunes. It's just good all around. It gives us more EP and more EP regen. Anyway, take care. Thanks to anyone who checked in, and we'll be moving on. Or actually, we need to move on. Act 4 now. Act 4, definitely the most dangerous act.
Good job at the mad.
And even where it's not dangerous, it's quite difficult. Because, you know, the one area in that act where you shouldn't really be dying is the fight with the sentinels on the platforms. Although you can definitely die to Bastion, so yeah, even there. But you can also just fail that mission by letting Kilroy get killed. I think his name's Kilroy. I hate him. He's a dick. He whines too much. But the sewers are dangerous.
Welcome to my home. No doubt I can only those agree.
Some of the areas of the New York streets are really dangerous. The second stage of sewers is dangerous. Apocalypse's Tower is dangerous. The Prison of Misery is dangerous. It just... yeah, this is the worst act in the game in terms of, like, where you're genuinely gonna die. And it's got it all. It's got range burst, it's got, like, close range burst, it's got chain CC, it's, you know, it's literally, it's got you, fam. Don't worry about it. Anyway, gonna wrap this up now.